At first glance, the 959 looks like any other 911 from the 80s. It had similar lines and an almost identical face. But look closer and it becomes clear that this is no ordinary Porsche. A beautiful spoiler, combined with huge fender flares, gives some clue as to what this machine is capable of. It pushed the boundaries of cutting-edge technology and made way for some of the most iconic cars of the modern era. It was created for an event it was too late to enter, but still managed to leave a lasting impact on crowds around the world. It was as comfortable as a German sedan and as capable as a true race car. It was 20 years ahead of its time, boasting more technological features than anything from its competition. So why is it not remembered as the car from the era? Only 8 months after Porsche released the 959, Ferrari came out with the legendary F40. With more power and less weight, the F40 was technically faster, but it still couldn't do what the 959 could. It lacked all the technology Porsche crammed into their new supercar, so why do we compare the two? Let's talk about one of the most famous automotive rivalries and how two very different machines took over the car world. This is the story of the 959. During the early 80s, Porsche was enjoying all forms of motorsport. The 911 was renowned as a great driver's car, but the company believed they should shift their focus to other projects. They were seeing more sales in front-engine cars like the 928 and saw no need to continue the 911. But Peter Schutz, the new CEO of Porsche, could not let the 911 die. He tasked Professor Helmut Bott with saving the 911 at all costs. Understanding the magnitude of his task, Bott got to work creating a futuristic rear-engine car. Bott decided to focus the car's development around the Group B rally series. Not only was the series growing in popularity, but he knew that nothing accelerates car development like motorsport. In case you don't know, Group B was an insanely dangerous rally series, with crowds just feet away from the cars. The series had few restrictions on design, allowing Porsche to throw anything and everything at this car. They had to produce only 200 homologation cars, which was hundreds less than other series. A four-wheel drive system began development, and to keep the spirit of the 911 alive, the motor was placed in the rear. It was powered by a sequential twin-turbo flat-six pulled straight from the 956 and 962 race cars. Porsche showcased the 959 concept at the 1983 Frankfurt Motor Show. Unfortunately, its production took too long, and by the time the car was ready, Group B was no more. Of course, this did not stop Porsche from entering their new creation into other races. In 1986, it won Paris to Dachau and was entered into Le Mans, finishing first in its class and 7th overall. That's crazy. Not only did this car win an insanely grueling rally, but in the same year, it came 7th at Le Mans. So clearly the 959 is a capable race car, but how did that translate to the homologation cars? Well, it's impossible to mistake the 959 for anything but a Porsche, so naturally, it was a hit. The car was released to the public in 1986. There were two versions, the Comfort, which boasted 450 horsepower, and the Sport, which made 508 horsepower. The Comfort model had a 0 to 60 of 3.6 seconds, which is quick today, but in 1986 was, well, insane. When the car came out, it was the fastest production car in the world, reaching top speeds of nearly 200 miles an hour. As impressive as that is, this Porsche was more than just a fast car. This missile straight from Stuttgart was stuffed with fine leathers and all comforts imaginable. It's true the interior was ripped straight from a 911, but that doesn't take away from how impressively luxurious this speed demon was. The 959 was not only more comfortable than its competition, but it had more features. It was the first road car to feature a tire monitoring system, it had a groundbreaking adjustable suspension setup, and its all-wheel drive system was advanced enough to send 80% of the power to the rear wheels. It was also one of the first cars to feature an adjustable rear spoiler, which would automatically adjust its angle based on the car's speed and driving conditions. No wonder Bill Gates bought one. Unfortunately for Porsche, the 959 was a money pit. At the time, the retail price was $225,000 per car, but Porsche spent twice that just to build one. As bad as that was, Porsche knew the importance of innovation, and the 959 was about as innovative as it gets. All these features were decades ahead of their time, and would become the base for all future four-wheel drive Porsches. So what did the competition respond with? Probably one of the most iconic cars of all time, the Ferrari F40. A year after the release of the 959, the F40 hit the streets. Ferrari broke the record for the fastest production car, with the F40 reaching 201 miles per hour. It was more powerful, lighter, and honestly scarier. You would think that this would equate to a quicker car, but they were surprisingly close in speed. Richard Hammond beat the F40 with the 959, but in perfect conditions, they really would cross the line about the same time. In total, only 293 959s were built, with almost 1,311 F40s being produced, making the 959 a much rarer car. Now, you may not agree with the title of this video, but it's safe to say the technology in the 959 was beyond anything Enzo could have dreamt of. And in my defense, a Car&Driver article did call the 959 perfect in 1987. The thing is, the 959 could do just about anything you wanted. Take it rallying, no problem. Take it endurance racing, piece of cake. You could even take it to lunch and be comfortable. So why is it not the perfect car? To put it simply, it was too perfect. The F40 didn't feel like it was as planted. It was wild, and it felt more like you were along for the ride. The F40 was like, and I quote, a hyper go-kart. Basically, Ferrari created a traditional analog supercar while Porsche made a digital racing machine. The 959 is also subtle when compared to the Ferrari. Of course, the F40 is bright red, but it also has some of the most aggressive lines and iconic designs of the decade. The Porsche looks like, well, a Porsche. It's beautiful, of course, but it can't do this. With all that said, the 959 was built for more than just showcasing what Porsche could create. The car is the reason four-wheel drive 911s exist. The 964 generation 911, an already impressive car, now had a very advanced all-wheel drive system, thanks to the 959. Most importantly, the 959 is the original formula for modern-day supercars. It's a stretch, I know, but turbos and four-wheel drive are what allow modern-day monsters like the Chiron, SF90, and R8 to reach such insane speeds. There really is no point in picking a favorite. They're so different, but equally important in the history of supercars. But if you had to, which would you pick? The visceral Ferrari F40 or the sophisticated Porsche 959? You already know which one I would choose. Thanks for watching.